I think questions for me in this work is how we come together, how we work as a mixed company, how we take care of a mixed company of artists that come from a diversity of backgrounds. And I don't want to just work with one kind of person or one specific community. What I love is bringing lots of people in.
I did a lot of sort of, this kind of theater, Western, classical, colonial, structured. So then to come later in my life to the Indigenous circle and have different people say, you don't have to work that way, we can try other ways of working. But so I thought it was a really neat amalgam of the two.
I found it challenging to be aware of how much I was asking of the guest artist to educate. I guess specifically talking about residential schools, I didn't want to ask questions that would bring up trauma from the past. I was very challenged by how to navigate those conversations and to know when I needed to go home and do my homework and when the room was open for, helpful questions.
One of my personal challenges was to ask those hard questions, or those questions that aren't even hard but are kind of embarrassing, like things where you're like, oh, I wish I already knew this, but I don't because I have a white colonialist upbringing. It's made me curious about where not only the Stratford Festival, but all these major sort of A-house, big budget Canadian theaters are going to go with material like this.
When and how are we going to see these stories told? Because I feel like we're not doing a good enough job at this point telling these stories.
These conversations need to happen, and I think as Indigenous people, we're growing very strong. Not all Indigenous artists are going to think the same and have the same opinion about when it comes to trauma in relation to art and Indigenous rights and that political aspect in relation to art. I'm learning that my opinion isn't the only opinion and it isn't the way. It's a collection, and so we just have to keep listening to each other. So.
Because you become aware of the other person's journey and their information, and the approach is really good. The discussion is different if it's a mixed company as opposed to one or the other. And so I'd like to do more of that, I think. I'd like to sort of have, maybe not the conversations, but work on pieces specifically that sort of with mixed companies to try and sort of see if we can sort of find a middle ground that's sort of better for everybody, right? That serves the show, not the institution.
And I think that's the ongoing work here, especially as Indigenous artists start to have more profile and have more opportunity about their plays. It'll be interesting how we invite people into those spaces and how we share and talk and keep everybody engaged and open to the work.